Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to High Top Sports Recruiting. I'm Cody, the professor. But first, we got to thank the sponsors, the guy that pays the bills. We are powered by BetUS. This video is powered by BetUS. Let's go ahead and get right into it. We got some OU looking a little clunky on offense, going against Tulane this week. It's gonna be a good matchup. They faced Houston, which is the old coach of Tulane. Tulane, he did not leave Tulane with the cupboard completely gone, but and then we got Florida and DJ Lagway. Can he bring enough to the table to get a big win over A&M? Jason's going to say outside perspective what he thinks about that. But let's go ahead and get into Oklahoma and Tulane. What does Oklahoma need to do to get a win over Tulane? This is not a scrub. This isn't, Sewanee State or whatever, you know, school the blind like some of these other teams are playing this week. This is a very good program for the last, what you would say, 10 years, 5 years, 10 years.
Right.
They're going to play good football. They're not going to be rattled because it's Oklahoma. They almost knocked off Ole Miss last year at home. So
Yep.
what does Oklahoma need to do to get over Tulane?
Probably not what everybody wants to hear, but you got to do a lot more of what you've been doing, which is play very solid defense, not let their offense get going really. They've got a really good quarterback themselves. That's, you know, he's kind of, if you look at what he is, he's one of those guys that's kind of dynamic. He's not a big time runner, but he's going to make some throws that on the run, where he's always seems to be moving around to kind of get going on that in that realm of it. So I like some of their skill position guys and things like that. Their defense appears to be pretty decent, but I do think that if you're Oklahoma, you need to do much more of what you've been doing, which is forcing turnovers. He does look like he's that kind of guy that's going to give you a couple of turnovers here and there. You want to make sure that you force those early, get ahead, and make sure that you can kind of give your offense, I guess, a little breathing room to kind of get better. If you kind of look at it, Cody, that, I know a lot of people are being crazy about it, and it didn't look great last week. But if you went and watched any of this, and I know you probably did, it was just a little inconsistencies here and there. It's not that they weren't getting anything done. It's that it just didn't seem like it was really hitting on all cylinders. You get ball moving a little bit, and then all of a sudden you kind of have a mishap or something, a drop or a penalty or a sack, and all of a sudden you're in 3rd and 15. That makes it hard to convert third downs and keep drives going, which is what kills drives, period, and keeps you from getting on the board. What I will say is that I think what a lot of people are going through is kind of PTSD from the, race to 50 days under Lincoln Riley, and even kind of a little before that. This is a team that's going to be led by defense. It's hard for Oklahoma fans to get their head around that. If you're not out there scoring 30, 40, 50 points, that's a problem. I would say Willie Fritz is a big reason why Tulane is as good as they are today, even though they do have a new coach and everything, and he's a great coach as well. But they built that on the back of Willie Fritz. He came in. They certainly looked a lot better than they did in week 1, in week 2 against Oklahoma. But Oklahoma looked better along the offensive line than people were acting like they did too. I think there's little things they need to shore up. You're going to get Nick Anderson back this week, possibly Andrell Anthony. You get a chance to kind of get a little bit better. But I think if you continue to ride your defense and just don't turn the football over, you're going to be in a position to win every game.
For sure. They gotta get the 5-star number 1 running back, Tatum. They gotta get him a ball out in space, get him in early, get him involved in the screen game. I think that is, we've seen flashes of that, but they really need to focus in on that. Look, they got good running backs. It's just, it feels like, and I think people are freaking out a little bit. I truthfully think that the offense might be just a couple weeks behind. You had a bunch of transfers for the offensive line, but you got a proven offensive line coach that's put more. I mean, minus Wisconsin, I would say probably more NFL linemen in the NFL
There's more money
if
from
not,
Oklahoma than anywhere else right now.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
add
it's
up
got to
their
be
their
1,
NFL
2.
dollars, if you add up their NFL dollars, it's Oklahoma first. So, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not too worried about it.
so a very proven offensive line coach, but that stuff takes time to
Yeah.
gel, and that's the thing with the transfer portal guys. These guys gotta, they get in, but they gotta get time to gel, and the offensive line has to do that. I think they will be fine. I think it's a blessing. I think Houston was a blessing to kind of give a shot across the bow, and then you're
Glad you
taking the
said that.
next. I think you're taking the next step up with Tulane. I think Tulane is a better team right now than Houston is right now. So you're taking another echelon up, and then you get into SEC play. And by then, if the offense isn't cooking by then it is what it is. It's just not. It's probably not going to be what you guys were expecting. But I think that this is going to be a good step. I think it's a team that you don't overlook though, because a team like this could definitely beat you. But I think they're going to ride the defense. I think you're right, and I think Oklahoma fans probably should simmer down a little bit. Guys, it's week 3. I'm going to go ahead and do some pick'ems for Bet US. Right now, with Bet US, you get 150% back on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 by typing in the code YouTube 150. That is code YouTube 150. Go ahead, log on there. Obviously, you can see my cash. I've bet a little bit, lost a little bit. I got some bets going on right now, so we will see. We will see how it's going to go. But let's go ahead and we're going to scroll down, and I want to get your prediction on 2 games. Alabama, Wisconsin. You taking the 16 points, or are you going to take are you going to let Alabama get the 16? That's 16 and a half. At Camp Randall.
Man, I think Wisconsin covers that.
Yeah, I think they play good defense. I think they're going to keep everything up in front of them, and I think Wisconsin also covers. Let's go ahead and check out one more game. Oh, beautiful, right here. Let's go ahead and see Florida State, Memphis. Memphis is just 6.5 points. Florida State is begging for their first win. Or do you take the over under a 54? What are you thinking?
Have you heard what's going to happen? Are they starting DJU, or are they going with the backup? What's going on there?
I think they're going with DJU, last I saw on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them finding a way here, but I also think that Memphis is really good, and they put their best foot forward in NIL and everywhere else. I like their coaching staff. It's not as much about DJU for me as it is about that coaching staff there. I think that they've done a piss poor job at every level on both sides of the football for both games this season. So to me, I think that you might see them flip it around a little bit here, but I also think that they may still be in trouble. I think this is 0-3 for Florida State, man.
For sure. That would be an epic collapse, and talk about seats getting a little warm. I know he just signed a big extension, but it could happen. Let's go ahead, and if we get them wrong, it's okay, because BetUS has 150% back on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000, and you will get that money back. So if we're wrong on these bets, that's all right. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the next topic, which
they're still undefeated. Yeah. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's not kind of scary what we saw, because it kind of is, it kind of is. And you definitely want to see them play a little better against a team that like Houston. But I would also say that, what you said, when you kind of have that game that you get a little scare in you like that, and it's not against the team that you expected, because I think anybody would have expected that would probably be Tulane. But the fact that you did kind of have that maybe letdown game, if you want to call it that, in a situation like that, probably make sure that you don't have it this week. I think that Venables was kind of signaling it last Wednesday in his press conference. He wasn't very happy. He wasn't his normal self in that Wednesday press conference time. I think that they really need to make sure. I think that they really need to really make sure that they lock it up, and I think they will, man. The truth be told is, yeah, there's not a lot of yardage. obviously last in the SEC in yards per pass, but he also only has 1 turnover on the season. And really, that turnover for Jackson Arnold was pretty much on Deion Burks because he got skinny on the route instead of finishing the route and allowed that secondary guy to jump it and get the pick there. Really, overall, I've seen some things. You've seen enough good things out of them that you can calm down a little bit if you're an Oklahoma fan. Now, there's Oklahoma fans that will not. There's some that are fine. But I would just say that as far as I'm not concerned about the guy that went out and won Elite 11 in a year that, had a guy like Nico Iamaleava in it as well, and Dante Moore and all those guys too. So, give him some time. I think they need to simplify things a little bit as far as Seth Luttrell, take away some of those reads. I think he's trying to make the perfect read and make sure the guy's wide open. As well as I do, there's not a whole lot of wide open receivers, once you get into the SEC. Right. There's not just going to be a ton that are wide open. Have him read half the field and make the throw. That way he just because he does have the arm, let's just let him get some confidence about it. And I think that's really all he needs is just to be confident not to get a turnover there. And even if you do, it's okay. You know what I mean? Make some of those throws, and get your swagger back a little bit. I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. I really don't.
Let's go ahead and check on the other side of the ball, and then we will get to the Florida content. I know I got a couple Florida guys in here, Trav, and some other guys. Defensive side of the ball has been good. I think that the offense needs to actually help them out a little bit and sustain some drives. My boy Jaden Jackson has looked incredible. That defensive line is as true as what we thought it was. Yeah. And I think that the secondary is very good. I think it's actually probably better than what we thought so far. Now I know you guys haven't played like a Tennessee or something that's going to stretch you wide and area out yet, but definitely some bright spots on that defense. What are you expecting to happen with Tulane? What do you think they're going to do? And what do you think the style of play? Are they going to let those guys on the defense just pin their ears back and go after it? And do you think the offense can actually help them out and sustain some drives?
I think they will. I think the offense, like I said, I think if you do something, you saw some improvement out of the line, first of all, last week. That's not, if anything, Jackson was leaving a clean pocket sometimes. I think that as I said, make it a little simpler, run the ball a little bit more than what you did the other day, kind of establish that you're going to be in good shape. When it comes to the defense, I trust this defense. I trust what Zach Alley and Coach Venables are doing. The guys in the secondary are big hitters. Yeah, somebody subbed Garrett Bulwer in here saying, I hope Mario Williams gets introduced to the boogeyman. Yeah, and he's talking about another freshman. You talk about Jaden Jackson, who is a absolute stud. But let's talk about the secondary that's full of young guys that are studs too. Forget about Peyton Bowen. He's going to do his thing back there. But you've got guys like, Michael Boganowski and Reggie Powers and, there's a number of young guys in the corner and safety positions that are bringing a lot of pain to these guys, and somebody's going to get baptized before long, and they're going to not want to run across the middle. That's for sure. Even the running backs and stuff like that. So I think that Tulane, they're in for a long day because they're probably going to see some things that they've never seen before. Particularly with the redshirt freshman quarterback that's really only been the starter for a few weeks. They only made him the starter, I think, a couple of weeks before the season. So, and he'd been on the practice squad before that. So I would tell you that there's a lot of things that are going to go on defensively that's probably going to, being a young guy that hadn't had a lot of experience either, I think it's going to be tough for him, just like I expect it to be tough for Nico next week when they take on Tennessee as well. I think that they haven't really shown anything exotic on the defensive side of the ball. It's another thing that I think that's kind of going on with the offense too, but we don't have to really talk too much about that. But I think they've been holding a lot back and they've still been dominant. So, I think the defense is I think that's what gives me trust in moving forward, that I'm not too concerned. it's just I'm just not that worried because I feel like the offense doesn't. I've always said that the offense does not have to be Baker Mayfield. You don't need Baker out there, putting up 50. You just don't need it. In fact, it might be against the better thing for you to go out there and score like that. So that's just kind of the way I feel about it. Yeah, I think that they're going to get pressure on this guy. They're going to try to force him to make some mistakes. He's prone to do it. He made a couple of mistakes late in the game last week against Kansas State that hurt him. I think they're going to capitalize on that quickly. And this is a team that feels like they're being kind of, shit on a little bit, This Oklahoma team feels like they're being shit on a little bit by their own fan base. So I expect them to come out with a lot of fire.
All right, let's go ahead and check out some betting lines real fast before we go to Florida. But before that, what do you think? Score prediction, OU Tulane.
Oh, you're going to make me do a score prediction?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Let's go 31-10. I'll say 31-10.
31-10. I'm going to go 28-21. I think it's close.
Ooh.
I think it's close. But I think that Tulane will do enough to stay in it. And it might be a little lower scoring. It might be like a 21-14 game. But we'll see. It depends on how the offense is, and it's going to be a big step up versus next week. Obviously, you got Tennessee, but let's go ahead and check out our proud sponsors. Thanks, Jason, for coming on. It's always fun. I always like talking a little Sooner football.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you having me.
And I appreciate you. I'll have to hop on your show again. Jason, where can they find you real fast?
Hall of Fame College Football. It's at HOF-CFB, HOF-CAFB right here on YouTube. You can catch me at JW_HOF on Twitter as well. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, guys, we're going to end it. And like I said, this video is powered by BetUS, and we will see you later.